We are sisters, Julia and Anastasia, and 2 years ago we moved home to the Australian rainforest. We've been working hard, building, gardening and caring for each of the animals. We moved into the old farm shed and renovated it to be an art studio to sew and paint in. Every day we're learning from the land and animals and learning to live in perfect harmony with nature. It hasn't all been easy. Bushfires have threatened the land, and last month we faced the biggest floods in recorded history. But from this, we've learnt so much along the way. We are so thankful for the community on here, and every single comment warms our hearts so much. So we've got Lemon here, and we thought we'd answer a few questions from last week's video. What's the first question?
So, the first question that was asked is, how long have you lived here?
Well, it's a bit of a long story because our grandparents moved here a long time ago, but we'll give you a brief history of everyone.
Start at the beginning.
Start right at the beginning. Lemon, where are you crawling to? So our grandparents moved here in the 50s and planted heaps of fruit trees. They were some of the first hippies to live in these hills, and they drove around in their colourful combi van selling tropical fruit.
Our dad was the youngest of 6 brothers, and we definitely take a lot from him. He built many tree houses and had so many pet ducks.
Yeah, Lemon.
Our mum moved to the rainforest from her small country town, and our parents met at the top of a waterfall when they were both camping.
They used to live in the bottom kiwi patch, and they built this funny shack while they were building our family home. They built it from all that they could find, and it was completely from recycled materials. They collected things from houses that were being demolished, and from hand they built a house so full of character. They grew bananas, chocos, macadamias, and sold them at the markets, and when we were kids we'd help out too.
Our childhood was very special, and honestly not much has changed. We spent our days building tree houses, playing in creeks, and looking after animals.
After school, we both moved away for a bit. We both travelled and moved to cities and lived a life away from the farm for a while. But a few things brought us back to the farm. Our dad died 5 years ago, so we never really left the farm for long, always coming back to support our mum and to connect with the land. Now we've really settled on the farm and we're so inspired here, with so many future plans. And we've got 24 ducks, 8 sheep, 4 goats and 11 chickens, so I don't think we're leaving anytime soon. Recently we renovated the old farm shed to make an art studio, and we've been living there. Shush! But with the catastrophic floods we moved back in with our mum for a bit, and we're working hard to move back into the studio soon. I know you asked us questions, but it seems like Lemon has more to say. Where are you going? Muff does not want it. Not impressed, Muff. He likes it. Magnolia. Come on. Come on.
This is Aphrodite, who is the queen sheep, and her daughter Harmonia. And Black's the pony, and Jack. Hi, Harmonia. Harmonia's shy, but Aphrodite is queen sheep. She is so fierce. Hey, Jack. Jack's friendly when there's food. Lanky boy. Hi, Lanky boy is Aphrodite's sister and brother, and Harmonia's uncle. That's your mate. You look like you need a haircut. That's one of the questions we always get. Yeah. They are self-shedding sheep, so they don't need to be shorn, but they get these big funny dreadlocks and then they just fall off. So they grow them for winter and then they shed by summer. But Lanky Boy's not that good at shedding. Aphrodite isn't as well, and we gave her a DIY haircut. The pony's good. Yeah, you're gorgeous. He's just got these funny bits. Lanky Boy gets jealous of that. He does. Oh.
Okay, so the next question is, do you go into the city often for supplies or a job, or do your lives truly center around the farm and you're able to make a living through your video production and what you can grow on the farm? Actually, we haven't been to the city in like 2 years. The last time I was in the city was, I was studying in Melbourne. I was studying fashion design, and then the pandemic hit and I drove home through the desert to come home for a bit. I thought I'd be here for like a maximum of 3 weeks. And 2 years later, I haven't even been back to visit. I'm really happy here, and it's so cool to be able to live on the farm and work from here, and it's made me realize like living a simple life. You can be creative away from the city as well. There's so much here in nature, and I'm learning it so much every day.
I think our lives definitely center around Aphrodite and all the animals.
Yeah.
We can't even leave them for a day, but we're so happy to just, do the animal routine every night.
Every single night. It takes so long. It takes like 45 minutes at bare minimum. You got the starling! Who's that? That's me!
We're so privileged to be able to live here with our mum. And yeah, we make some money off YouTube now, which is so exciting. Hey, bird!
We're so thankful to you guys that let that happen.
Yeah. And now we're able to put a bit of money back into the farm. We found a lot of contentment in accepting this simple life and letting go of the ideas that we're taught about money and living with our parents as adults. We've found it's a really positive and beautiful thing to move back in with our mum and live really simply on the land. I used to make a little money here and there by selling fruit or paintings, and fell in love with the simplicity I found living in nature. I have ME or CFS and have never been able to work a real job. I used to work odd jobs here and there when I could, cleaning or waitressing, but as a disabled person I thought I'd never be able to earn a steady wage. But since we started making these videos, excitedly we're able to make a living from YouTube. It's so amazing to be able to live and work from the farm, and we're so grateful to you all for letting this happen. Our dad and grandparents always loved telling the story of the farm. Opa would pick up any hitchhiker in his old truck and invite them to stay here as long as they wanted, always giving a tour that included the story of every single tree. It's so amazing that we're still doing the same thing, creating these stories and sharing them with anyone who's interested. I honestly pinch myself every day that I'm able to work and create videos and support the farm with the money that we're able to earn. We're able to buy fencing materials and animal food and trees and have the energy to work on the gardens and regenerating the land.
Okay, so the next question is, what do you have planned for this year? And the answer is a lot. We have a lot of dreams. Maggie, you're covering me up. We have so many dreams, and some of them are probably a bit unrealistic. We've got a lot of project plans. Actually, I'll take you on a little tour of all the projects we have planned. Maybe the goats will come.
We always have like 4 schemes on the go at once.
Yeah, you should see my sketchbook. Alright, so projects. First and foremost, I want to build a boathouse. Maggie, what are you doing? You gonna come join me in the boat? You can be a sailor too. So I want to build a little house that kind of sits on top of this boat, which I imagine all these windows, and it's got a little deck out the front, and it's a bit of a ridiculous job, but I think that it would be amazing and I want to do it. This boat our dad collected from the like rubbish tip or like wrecker's yard when years ago, like 10 years ago probably, maybe more, and it's been sitting here for the past however long, and then in the floods it was up there and it got washed all the way down here, but it still seems alright, and I don't know if there's any holes in it. Hopefully not. We'll see. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but I think it would be great. So right now, it might look like something you'd find at a rubbish tip because it was. And it also might look like something that is flood waste that got washed way downstream and wrecked a few fences on its way, which it also is. But I see a bright future for it, and I think I could do it. Surely it's not too hard. I don't know a thing about boats and not much about building, but we'll see. So this is it now, and these are my plans for it. We've got rubbish tip boat that might sink, who knows if it floats, or a chic little tiny home that floats on the water. Huh? Huh? You see it? Actually, if anyone knows anything about boat plugs or just about boats in general, please message us. We have no idea what we're doing. Okay, the goats ran away to the guava tree, but that brings us to the next project. But firstly, I'm gonna climb this tree and get some guavas because I'm jealous of the goats. These look good. Okay, so this one answers another question as well as circling back on the project's question, which the other question was, who do you live with? So our mum, and also our brother and his girlfriend have moved in across the ridge from us. So that's really nice because we've got company, but also we have plans to build a big community garden with a few other neighbours as well. And so we want to do it here, which is the old kiwi patch. There's still a few kiwis, but a lot of them have died, so there's all these trellises that aren't being used. We've already started it and we've pulled some pipes down and we're really excited. We're going to try to grow all sorts of things. It'll be a no-dig garden following permaculture techniques, and we might grow some passion fruit on the trellises and tomatoes and lots of things. This is the plan, and so if you look closely you will notice that there are piggies in the plan because that's our other project that I want to get pigs. I have to convince everyone else first, but they are really good for soil tillage and they'll pull up the soil and like get the compactness out of the soil, and they do all these things and they're cuties and I want some. And we've also got chickens in the picture. And this is Aphrodite and Harmonia, because they're cuties too. So this is plan number 3, which is probably the longest term plan, but also the one I'm most excited about. So this is the old pump shed, which houses the pump, which doesn't really work anymore, but it used to pump water out of the dam. But there's actually a strangler fig growing on top of it. So I don't know if you've seen a strangler fig, but they're these beautiful trees that surround another tree and fully just grow around them, and they're beautiful, but they take over trees. But it's decided its host is instead this shed. So my plan, which I don't actually have to do anything for, I'm just working with the tree, is that the strangler fig will keep growing around and make this like a little hobbit home. And so there'll be like all roots, and then it'll grow up. And I mean, I googled it, and from what I can tell, I think they take like 100 or 200 years to grow. So it's definitely a longer term project, probably for our grandkids or even later, but yeah, I think it's pretty fun. Other projects that I forgot to mention include Julia's truck house. Her green 1975 truck needs the perfect little house in the back, which we could move around the farm or travel in. Also, I have plans to make another duck pen for the girls and to build a duck pond for my boy ducks to splash around in. Oh, and also to fix up the cabin at the dam after it endured some flood damage. We have a lot of dreams. Actually, please comment below which project we should do first and help us make some decisions around here. Another question that I forgot to answer is snakes. What kind of dangerous wildlife do we have, and aren't we scared of them? Well, I have 3 clear categories of snakes. There are cuties, which are sweet little sliverers like tree snakes, pythons, night tigers, and whip snakes. And these guys are all harmless and are more scared of us than we are of them. Pythons take the occasional duck, which is always sad, but it's just part of nature. The next category is the not-so-cuties or big no-no snakes. This includes brown snakes and just brown snakes, really. They can strike so fast you don't even see them, and they're the second most venomous snakes in the world. They're really aggressive, so we just don't go anywhere near them and just admire their beauty from a distance. The third category is the one you always see when you're hiking deep in the bush. It's the, oh wow, what kind of snake is that type of snake. And they always look cool and intriguing until you look them up, and they're highly venomous and make you bleed from every orifice. Then again, it's just a look from the distance kind. Okay, so I got distracted because the goats ran away and started to eat all the fruit. And then I had to bring them home, and then I had to let all the ducks back in their night pens. So it's almost dark now. But I was talking about all the projects. There's also lots more. We need to fence the big back paddock because it would be really cool to start regenerating the land in there. It's a beautiful paddock full of rainforest, but it's also got so many weeds. And so we want to get the goats in there to start eating all the weeds, and then we'll start pulling out all the antenna and stuff. And yeah, see how that goes. And then also, what are the other projects? Maybe that's all. Oh, we need to rebuild all the fences after the floods. So that's quite a big one. A lot of them washed out, and we've just got temporary fences in some spots and then no fences in other spots. The sheep haven't found the big hole in one of the fences, so that's great news. But they'll probably find it eventually and come to our veggie garden and start eating everything. But apart from that, maybe that's all the ridiculous dreams. Another question we had was who does what and how does the production come together of our videos. Truthfully, we all just work together really well. Mum does all the filming, so she is normally filming everything. She comes along with us everywhere, comes on all the adventures, but she's really shy, so she never gets in front of the camera. Julia does the editing. She is such an artist at it, and every bird song or song lyric she places like a paint stroke, and it's like this grand painting of hers. And then I do the storytelling, and yeah, I love to document all of the little subtle changes in the season and what we learn from nature, and I love sharing it with you guys. It's so meaningful and amazing.
And I also fly the drone, which I'm learning to get better at after a few crashes deep in the rainforest and some rescue missions. Yeah, it's just all teamwork. Thank you so much for watching. I still have to put the boy ducks to bed, so I better do that before the sun sets. We are so appreciative of every subscriber and comment and like and everything. And we are so thankful to each patron. You guys inspire us so much, and we are planning to plant a lot more trees, especially after the floods, just along the banks to sort of stabilize the soils, and we found that that seemed to have really helped things stay together. So thank you everyone for being here. Okay, one last question we always get asked is, do the ducks poop on us and how do we keep clean? The answer, we don't. These little fluff balls poop on us constantly, and it's just part of the package. You're such a good girl. You're such a good girl.